FPL Gameweek 6 Team Selection, guys. Do we have a lot to cover with Haaland injury news? There's a lot of avenues to consider. So in this video, we're going to be covering my Gameweek Team 6 selection, which was going to be playing a bench boost. I have to now also consider a wild card, which I've prepared for you guys, and I've also prepared a free hit for you guys who will be playing free hit, and then we'll also discuss best captaincy options as well as whether or not you should be considering your triple captain. So without further ado, let's get into it. The FPL Force rises with its very own web app coming soon. With every game week comes captaincy dilemmas, benching headaches, transfer doubts, and many more. So let the FPL Force guide you, not just through data-driven real-time analytics and recommendations so that you trust your every decision. I mean that feeling, that feeling you get inside, the one you call a hunch, your gut, a thing. Now that's the FPL Force, and only FPL Force managers have it within them. The FPL Paddy one, the Engaged Knight, the FPL Master. But beware of the dark side.
Silence as the FPL Force speaks. Will you wield the precision of the light side or the power of the dark side? Take the quiz in the description below to discover your FPL Force persona and begin your journey to FPL Mastery with a 50% discount when the FPL Force web app launches. You could just be the one the prophecy speaks of. May the green arrows be with you.
All right, guys. That is right. The FPL Force is going to be launching their web app soon, and to get 50% off, you have to scan the QR code below and take the persona quiz to discover what type of FPL Force manager you are, an FPL Paddy 1 or an FPL Master. So everything I use in my videos right now is coming from the FPL Force web app, so you know exactly how and what how to use it and what tools that it has, so you have something to look forward to. So scan that QR code or grab the link in the description below to take that quiz. All right, let's get straight into it, guys. Game week 5 was a shamble. Got 38 points. Not really happy with that, but it wasn't a game week, really, honestly, that we all were really looking forward to going into, because all the teams that were, the fixtures weren't really looking great for anybody, even with captaincy in itself. So captaincy on João Pedro, he blanked, and we all know how that went with Manchester United and Chelsea both getting red cards. My only return really was from Mateta and Nico Williams. And then of course Vert's also getting the bench, so a lot of highlights, honestly, including Kudus on the bench. So my team not necessarily looking great, but a lot of that's going to change now because we're pretty much into chip season. So just wanted to touch base so that you know exactly where I'm at when it comes to this. So let us go to the command center, where we will now start discussing my actual team selection for game week 6. So for game week 6, I've already actually made my 2 transfers. Let us optimize the team so you can see exactly how the FPL Force actually helps you making your benching decisions, having not made the transfers yet. In fact, let's make the transfers first. So what I wanted to do was, what I've already done actually, is I've taken out, no, not Mateta, I've taken out Ollie Watkins, and I've brought in Erling Haaland, and I've also removed Verts, and I have brought in Tijani Reinders. Is he gonna pop up here? No, I have to go to City. Cool, let's go to City. Cool, so I've brought in those 2. right? And as I mentioned, honestly, the plan for me was really to bench boost. So let's optimize the team with those two guys in now, and let's see. So Vicario comes in for Sal's. Pedro Porro is to play against Wolves. Tarkowski, of course, against West Ham at home, and Neco Williams as well against Sunderland. It's preferring to play Duoff, which I totally understand because he has been returning lately and playing well. So I've got 4 in the back. Boemo against Brentford, his old team at home. Reinders in the midfield with Kudus as well. And then, so that becomes very much a 4-3-3. So if I just move that there, that's also one of the cool things on the FPL Force app is you can move your players around. So you can actually set your squad up, but you have to make sure that the players don't. Yeah, so if I move them there at least, cool. So in the front line, then we have Mateta, João Pedro, and Haaland. Of course, we are going to have Haaland with the captaincy, so let's just make him captain. Vice captain for this week, let us go with Brian and Buemo. Now, this is what the team looks like, and we'll talk about Haaland and his injury and potentially not playing, but let's just entertain this team because, like I said, in the case Haaland is injured, I do have a wild card prepared, and that is the avenue that I'll basically be going instead of, because I was going to play my bench boost and then I was going to wild card in game week 7. Yeah. So now I'm like, oh well, things are not looking good anyway. One, because 8 Nori is already somebody I have to deal with. I'm not particularly proud of my bench boost because as much as this is what the FPL Force is saying that I should play, and I understand because it's mainly based on the form and the fixture as well. So Gakpo hasn't necessarily been informed, neither has Anderson as well. He's of course hasn't been playing, and Sal also hasn't been playing, whereas Duoff has been returning, even though they haven't necessarily been performing as a team. What I was going to do was I was going to bring in Anderson for Duoff, of course. So Duoff would come in and sit there, and then so let's just move this out and just move it around, of course. Sorry, just move it around. I have to be a bit slow with this guy. So now you're looking at it more as a 3-4-3 formation. And that's looking good. That's looking good, to be honest. So now that makes my bench a Gakpo, which this, remember, is a bench boost. Not bad considering Ekitike is going to be out. Crystal Palace is going to be a tough game for Liverpool. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a high scoring game. It could be 2-2 high scoring in the fact that there's 4 goals involved, but I don't think it's going to be like Liverpool doing well against them, because we've seen how good Crystal Palace is as well as in the Community Shield. So that's going to be tough for them. Now I'm dealing with a Duoff who I'm not necessarily happy he's on my bench. Sorry about that. I'm not happy he's necessarily on this bench boost, but I'm happy that I have an attacking forward. So it's better than nothing. 8 Nuri is somebody I was looking for news on. Pep did mention him in his press conference before the midweek game against Huddersfield, and he said, because they asked him about injuries, and he said specifically attending to Nico O'Reilly playing on that left flank and whether or not he's able to handle it. And Pep was saying that no, in an ideally, he wouldn't want to play Nico that much, so if he has to, sure, right now. And he did mention something about 8 Nori's 8 Nori not being fit for now, but being fit for the weekend. So I do think he'll return, and this is me also being hopeful. Again, I need to get more news on this, But this is where basically I'm at, where I've got two players, both Haaland and Aït-Nouri, who have question marks where I have to wait for information on. And that's just not looking good for the bench boost, which is why I've had to go and do a wild card for this game week as well, in case I get the news that Haaland is not going to be playing. If Haaland is playing, Aït-Nouri is not playing, I was going to take a hit and bring in Senesi for Aït-Nouri. My ideal world is Aït-Nouri is playing, Haaland is playing. Then I'm considering taking a hit for Diouf. Considering. Because, you know, with Graham Potter being rumored to already being sacked, they're just waiting for better fixtures. More so like the international break to come around and then bring in the next, you know, gaffer that they can actually prepare nicely even in the international break. That makes sense. It just means like, what are the boys fighting for, you know? So I'm not necessarily happy with just Diouf on my bench, but again, like I said, the mere fact that he's an attacking player, I believe he can get something from it. So I most likely will not make the hit, take the hit in that ideal world. Now let us go to the wild card, which I've prepared. So my Gameweek 6 wild card, in case Haaland is injured, is going to have in goals, I'm going to have Donnarumma. I will have Timber. I will have Romero playing a 3-4-3 for this game week setup, and I will have Senesi as well. And then I'm going to have Semenyo in there. We'll have the captaincy in the case Haaland is not there, of course. I've just set this up with Haaland in so that you can see I will still bring Haaland in this game week. Dewsbury Hall there as an enabler along with Reinders playing against Burnley. They both got good fixtures and happy for that. Bringing in Bruno to more so really help myself in making sure that if he does get on the end of and continues his good performance, gets on the end of good returns, I do have him there as well. He does have some favorable fixtures in the next two fixtures, Liverpool and the third one later on. But you'd rather have him there knowing he can also get diff con, and if he gets a late penalty, he's on it. Haaland is still in the wild card, and I just have him here in the starting lineup just so you can see that as well, and the captaincy so that you know that as well. João Pedro's definitely there, and Gyökeres is definitely there. On the bench, of course, I'll have Dubravka as an enabler in terms of the goalkeeper. Then I'll have Calafiori doubling up on Arsenal in the defense there. I know a lot of you are thinking, Kat, why you have Calafiori and Timber? Why didn't you have Gabriel? I'll tell you again right now what my meta is when it comes to the defense. Caicedo there is my defcon monster in the midfield, with Rodon being my enabler in the defense and having some good favorable fixtures game week, I think 7, 8, 9 around there. So really happy with that team. That means that then I save the bench boost, which is why I'm thinking I should just wildcard now and then see how my team aligns as well. So going into that defense, talking about the meta, I wanted to get double Arsenal, and I also wanted to get a City defender. So I just felt like, you know what, actually Donnarumma has been looking really good. He's also certain for minutes. Pep was asked about Trafford and how he feels about being second fiddle right now and how he's been training considering that, and you know, he's very happy. And you know, I think with Donnarumma's performances lately as well, I think certain for minutes in that role as well, and even with rotation, best goalkeeper in the world now, you know. So I think that was a clear and obvious decision there in terms of how to get them in. Now to get a City defender in who's certain for minutes, because I wasn't sure about Guardiola. Like I do believe he's certain for minutes, but at the same time I'm like, hey dude, it's Pep, bro. You just honestly, you wouldn't be surprised if John Stones comes in, bro, and he's playing there with Diaz in the middle, you know. So I was just like, to get more someone who I feel more confident certain for minutes in that City defense with the good fixtures they have, Donnarumma. Now with the Arsenal defense, yes guys, your route should be, and I am telling you, you want somebody who's certain for minutes, Arsenal, part of your double defense, Raya, Gabriel, go for it, right? That's my thing for you. Now remember, we're all different managers and we'll manage differently. My meta in the defense is I need to have 3 out of the 5 defenders who are highly focused more so on DEFCON. 2 out of the 5 should be more attacking defenders. And so I said, okay, cool. So I'm going to have Senesi. I didn't want to spend too much money in getting Tarkowski. I can, in this team, I do have 0.4 left. So Romero being 5.1, I can actually just move him up to a Tarkowski. But I just didn't like Tarkowski's fixtures. Like, he's got a good entry fixture right now. He's actually in my team already. You can see that. You saw that. But I was just like, nah. Tottenham have really good fixtures. And they've been performing really well defensively. Romero's got good attacking threat as well. So I'm just like, I'm still happy to go with this guy, you know, like with the a Tottenham defender. And I think Romero for me is the best exit, considering cheaper than a Pedro Porro, got attacking potential, has got some DEFCON ability as well. So I'm covering myself all there with clean sheet, DEFCON and attack. So that's why I've got him there. Senesi, they are my DEFCON guys. Then of course Rodon is more so the enabler in anything. Not really like, oh, he's my DEFCON monster. Like, no, he just does cover DEFCON more than anything else. So I've got my 2 attacking defenders, which leads me to why I've got the 2 Arsenal fullbacks, who right now, being as an Arsenal fan as well, and having seen like how Arteta's lined up even in the cup as well, this guy's, he loves Timber as that right back. And even in Timber is not right back, he's either switching to the left back. Calafiori as well, I've seen like now with him being fit a lot, you can see like he is first choice left back, like number 1. And I noticed the one time when he got substituted out and he brought in Lewis Kelly, I feel like he wanted to change the game state into more so of a control, a real proper control. So bringing Lewis Kelly, who's not going to be coming into that midfield the way Calafiori does and flying into the box, which is what Calafiori does. Lewis Kelly more so comes into the midfield to play hand in hand with the central defender, Subimendi, at the time was Partey and stuff, and really helps in controlling. And then the person who's pushing and really getting up becomes Declan Rice, instead of Declan Rice coming down and collecting and trying to progress the ball along with the other defensive midfielder. So I'm also somewhat gambling and hoping that, you know, we get to a state where when we're doing really well and we've got like the clean sheet, then Arteta actually takes them off, like, hey, now we're good, now we just want to control the game, come in Ben White, you know, come in and like the clean sheet's done. So I'm sort of also riding on that really when it comes to this. That's why I've gone with these guys. Now in this, I think just need to talk about Haaland, let's say, being out. I would bring in Calafiori to play against, to bring in Calafiori instead of Haaland. If we do get the certainty that Haaland is not going to play, then I'll just put Haaland on the bench. I'll put Calafiori in because I'm happy with the rest of the guys in the team here. With Semenyo, he'll be the captaincy if Haaland is out, just because of his performances, form, and the fact that he's on penalties as well. Bruno as well is also another shout. He would have the vice captaincy. Just don't trust Man United, in all honesty. Do not trust Man United at all. So my strikers would be João Pedro and Gyökeres, and then I have Calafiori there as well on the left back there. So that's what it would be if I hear certainty with the news that Haaland is injured, and this would allow me to carry 2 free transfers into the next game week, where I'll look to actually try and build it up to 5 transfers. And there's no Liverpool here, which is something I think I should also talk about. I will, with building up the transfers, look to bring in a Liverpool asset in attack, and it won't actually be Mo Salah. If I really have to and I feel like, you know, I really need to, then I've got that Bruno placement, you know, where I can make the switch somehow, maybe even with Gyökeres if I have to, and he hasn't been looking good or somewhat, but I've got that midfield placeholder 9 million where I can make the switch. So it's possible, but I think the Liverpool number 9 is overlooked, and I totally understand why. It's because of the rotation. It's heavy. But I think once we get an understanding really of who Slot really loves in the Premier League, in terms of this is my Premier League number 9 striker, this is my Europe number 9 striker, I think then we'll be a lot more confident in making a move and who we're picking for a Liverpool asset when it comes to that front line, whether it's Isak or Ekitike, because I think either or honestly can do really well, because the goal share is really spread, and that's the thing that we hate right now with Liverpool, and that's why we're not necessarily going in there and we're not really sure where to go, because if it's not minutes, it's also the goal share, which Salah used to soak up. So I totally understand drafts that don't have Liverpool. It's not to say that you have to have Liverpool or anything like that, but like there's so many avenues in FPL, guys. Honestly, you can do it in so many different ways. So yeah, let's take a look at the free hit team for those of you who are free hitting. Now, game week 6 free hit team, I have got Donnarumma in goal. He's playing Burnley, so we all know that. Romero playing Wolves at home as well. Tarkowski playing West Ham, and Guardiola and the defense, they're doubling up with them. But he's definitely going to play in this game week. I know that for sure. I believe that. So I'm happy to have him in this free hit. In the midfield, I have Semenyo, Ndai, Bruno Fernandes, and Grealish. With the front three being Evan Nilsson, they're playing against Leeds as well, and João Pedro, Brighton, and Haaland as well versus Burnley as well, who has the captaincy. On the bench, of course, Dubravka. I've got Senesi there as a good first bench, Caicedo there as well, and Tuanzebe just as a huge enabler because he's actually 3.9. So can't remember if there's any budget left here, but I think you can change anything that you really don't like here. Doubling up on Everton there against West Ham. In fact, tripling up against them. 1 in defense, 2 in the attack. The 2 wingers, Grealish and Ndai as well. Happy to have the penalty taker there. Penalty taker with Bruno, penalty taker with Semenyo, penalty taker with Haaland, potential penalty taker with João Pedro going against Brighton. He could probably be the question mark. Evan Nilsson is really more so because, you know, he's got that favorable fixture against Leeds, and right now I'm just like, I wouldn't want to bring in a Yorkeres that's going to go and play against Newcastle. Wood playing against Sunderland. Sunderland is a good team, guys. Like they are, like defensively they are, and as much as I've got like triple Nottingham Forest, they're going to be playing this Thursday today actually, so like there's things you have to monitor and check, and you like see what the team lineups is going to be like today, and see like, hey, who's going to be actually playing on the weekend, can they actually cope playing Thursday and the weekend. Sunderland basically will have the upper hand in that perspective. So yeah, that's just why I haven't gone with Wood. Any other considerations in attack? Nah, others are just a bit too expensive. I think, you know, you could consider Richarlison as well. You could consider Richarlison there if you want to. I think that's a good shout. He's at 6.7 over João Pedro. I just say that in the sense that João Pedro is playing against a Brighton who we know on their good day they can really give you trouble. So if you're really looking for strikers with good fixtures there, then yeah, sure, you know. And again, Haaland is there just in case he's not. But I think in this free hit, you can, like I said, bring in any of those strikers that I mentioned that you want, and then bring in a Salah. Of course, make this more so of a Salah draft than anything. And I would actually maybe, who's that midfielder? Who's Caicedo? Yeah, maybe I'd upgrade Caicedo to Salah and just have a 5-3-2 rather, with João Pedro and Evan Nilsson as the forwards, or whoever else that I mentioned. So really easy one. Triple captaincy. Let's talk about that and captaincy. So captaincy this week is obvious. Number 1, Haaland, right? Number 2 for me, it's Semenyo. Then number 3, it becomes Salah. That for me is just the order because Crystal Palace is going to be a tricky game, and the goal share already, as we mentioned previously, when it comes to Liverpool's attack, has just been spread out a lot lately. So that being said, should you triple captain Haaland this game week? Because of the news that's transpired, and in all honesty, as much as I'm waiting on an update as to whether or not Haaland's going to be good to play this game week, hey guys, I just feel like it's a bit too risky. I feel like it's a bit too risky. Don't feel trigger happy to just play it because you feel like, I could miss this great opportunity. He's not going to play against them at home again. They're the ones like who concede the most XG. Haaland doesn't do well anyway when it comes to teams who will sit back. And that's one of the reasons for me why I'm not really a favorite. I don't really like this triple captain game for Haaland. I prefer him in a game like Sunderland or even Leeds if you want to attack the promoting sides. He's already played Wolves, and I think later on down the line in the season we'll start to discover who are the real whooping boys, like the boys where you can really target. Right now, as I mentioned, it's Wolves, it's West Ham, and then of course there's Burnley. So he's playing Burnley now, he's played Wolves, he should be playing West Ham later on down the line. So there's opportunity, and if it's not Haaland, then it's also Salah as well, who we all know has the ability to walk away with. I mean, last season he had a double game week. He walked away with 24 points, and triple captain that 60 something. So yeah, man, I think there's plenty of opportunity to do that triple captaincy, but just because of the doubts with Haaland and Pep not necessarily always really giving us the information we need, if you don't get that information, that confirmation that Haaland trained and he is in contention, he's good to play and stuff, then yeah. And I say that if he's trained, I believe he will play, because no way Pep is not going to play Haaland this game for a week and then make him play in the Champions League game. He knows he needs to give Haaland some minutes just to get him running so that he's good. He could come off early. That's the other reason why I'm like, dog, he's playing against a low block team. He might get a goal, whatever. But then it's just like, will he get like full 90 minutes, be able to score like 3 goals that you want? I just feel like he's going to take him off, especially knowing that, he had a back injury worry and he's got a Champions League game in the midweek that he needs him for. Like, that's just me. So yeah, that's just my advice when it comes to that triple captaincy. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Should I play my bench boost? Should I wait? Should I just go straight to the wild card? Don't even consider it. Let me know in the comments below. Also, hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way. And don't forget to take the quiz in the description below as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.